Travis Wayne Goodsell. So I checked the membership stats to see if there's been any update, and there's nothing. Oftentimes there has been lately the update right before conference. That has not been the case. And previously, before Oaks announced that they were stopping it, they would announce it during conference, and so we'd find out a couple of weeks later of what the full stats are, beyond the general stats that the church gives. That's right. See if any new Book of Mormon videos have come out. Still have the rest of the Book of Mormon to finish. Silence before conference. Nope. No new videos. Are they not going to finish the Book of Mormon? The destruction of the Nephites? That's interesting. Very interesting. I remember on my mission to, instead of letting people read the first part of the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi chapter 1, we would direct them straight to Jesus in 3 Nephi 11. And oftentimes there would be missionary companions who would pick out their favorite scripture from the Book of Mormon also. And of course we have to refer to Moroni chapter 10 verses 3 through 5 to make sure that the interpretation is rigged for a spiritual witness rather than a physical manifestation. And maybe that's why Mormons don't realize the learning of the Jews. Maybe Mormons aren't reading the Book of Mormon, or they just skim over it because nobody explains it to them, and so that's the way I was growing up. I wasn't born knowing all the learning of the Jews and the language of the Egyptians. I had to learn it. I had to study it. But at least I remembered that I needed to learn more about it one day if ever I could. Because that's what I had to do, was just put things on the side burner until I eventually figured them out. And I've realized as I had time for bed, to be well rested for conference. About reading about the second coming as I thought it was, and by reading the scriptures I was able to get a vision of what it would be like, the order of events, and I was very good at assembling it all together. And then I learned about the Jews and understood the learning of the Jews for the Book of Mormon. And it was a completely new paradigm. And I think Mormons are choosing to reject a new paradigm. The other alternative I see is that they're willingly participating in the lie. And that's for the one who puts the thumbs down on a regular video basis. But even he has his vision of how things are going to be. He used to comment, and I used to comment back and put him in his place. I use the Book of Mormon, quote the scriptures, and Mormons instantly lose their argument. And his idea of how things would be was so warped and twisted, I didn't even recognize it. Being born and raised Mormon and wanting to know all there was. Parents had a Mormon library. Was able to look up answers to gospel questions, Mormon doctrine, to find the answers. And so as I realize now how things are going to be, as we're nearing the end now, final year, which is the bicentennial of the second vision, in which Joseph Smith talks about it. Because the day that shall burn as an oven is supposed to be for the latter days, and we're in the last year of the latter days. There's been no Jesus appearing, and it's got to be weighing on Mormons' minds, that feeling of hopelessness, fear that their spiritual witness has been wrong, and they will try to keep living in denial to carry on, rather than actually seeking to learn the truth, because the truth would indicate that their spiritual witness was wrong. So why pursue the truth? But no Zion, guys. Final year and there's no Zion. Survivors will have to rebuild. But so what would be the outcome on the other side? You know, I've done the videos where I've pointed out how there's going to be Mormons who will make the trek back to Missouri, not realizing that that's the Danite code for overthrowing the government that had just happened as they're going there. Others will stay among the ruins to rebuild here in Utah. And I don't know if there'll be anybody who survives who've watched my videos or even believes me that it's supposed to be Southern Illinois. But then the rebuilding of the religion, in the worst case scenario, there's not a single Mormon on the face of this earth who knows how to rebuild Mormonism exactly as it is now. Even those that are in positions of administrative authority, that's as far as they go. It requires a knowledge of all things Mormonism, having the scriptures, understanding them correctly, and no Mormon does, because we have been indoctrinated with the replacement of Jesus over the text. But the Joseph Smith papers, that's all online, unless if you've bought the books, you'd have to be rich to be able to afford them all. And the rituals, I doubt there's anybody that will exactly recreate the temple ceremony of Brigham Young. And there'll be those who will want to change it to make it sound better, rather than some of the harshness that's in it. And then you'll have those that'll do their own thing, similar to the FLDS church. I think their temples were only used for child bride marriages. So I guess it doesn't even matter if you're not going to listen to me, that this is what the church is planning on doing. All of Brigham Young's branch-offs want to restore Brigham Young's religion and kingdom with all of its atrocities and crimes. It's just this church keeps it a secret, as they're working in the secret combination to prepare for the overthrow of the government to restore it. The others practice it openly. Warren Jeffs getting arrested for child bride marriages and having SNAP funds laundered to those who are not supposed to have them. And child slave labor, which again is in the news again. The church is no different from any of those. They're just practicing it openly. And yet I hear Mormons, I read over Senator Orrin Hatch talking about the dangers of polygamy. Didn't even bring up the LDS church. It was the other that are the problem. Even though the church practices polygamy still. Nelson ordered all men to divorce their wives to be married to more women. In the loophole of the law. Divorce, and then get sealed in the temple again to another woman. And then divorce, get sealed to another woman in the temple again. Then divorce. So that in the millennium, supposedly next year, even though Nelson's postponed it another year until 2026, allowing Mormons to get more wives, I guess. And if the Mormon wives don't allow him to do that, then they'll be destroyed. That was what Brigham Young put in there. Pissed off about the one who put him in jail. So blatantly obvious that was not from Joseph. But everybody perpetuates the lies. Alright, well, I need to start winding down for bed. I'm glad I got that computer hooked up and running so much faster.